Hello everybody, and welcome back to another action figure review. Today we're going to be doing one that I am super excited for. Finally got it in the mail from the Big Bad Toy Store. We've got CT7567 Captain Rex. First appeared in the Clone Wars animated series, and I am super excited to have him. So, let's check out the box. On the front side, you have the action figure, looks gorgeous. You've got the little image of the character, and that's pretty much it. It looks really nice in the box. It's not the HasCon version with the 2 extra blasters. It's just the standard, newer version of the figure. And then if we go ahead and spin it around to the side, you see you've got his name. That's about it. On the back side, you've got a picture of the figure, a well-done artist interpretation, and a description of the figure. You've got on the side, he is number 59 in this wave, and you've got the name of the figure. Now let's get this bad boy open. Now that we've got him out of the box, let's take a look at this figure. He looks fantastic, honestly. The face sculpt is wonderful. The armor has a nice weathering to it. It's really nice. One thing that I noticed is that the pauldron that he has on his shoulders is a completely separate piece, which I enjoy quite a bit. Anyway, he's got a whole lot of detail that I could not love more. He's got the little weld marks from where he put the Phase 1 armor onto his Phase 2 armor. He's got the same thing on his helmet, which will come into focus here in a second. There we go. It's a really beautiful helmet. It's nice and sturdy. It's got the little antenna piece that you can use for his sight. And it's got a little bit of weathering on the inside, which is pretty cool. Nice little detail. And overall, I think it's a really nice little accessory, little piece. Can't wait for the Ezra Bridger figure to come out so I can take a couple pictures. And yeah, one thing I did notice is that his head just feels a little bit small. And you'll see later it doesn't quite fit in the helmet, but compared to, say, Clone Commander Wolf, which I have right here, his head, I don't know if you can see it quite well, but the chin is a little bit smaller. Just proportionally it seems a little different. And now holding the two up between each other, I can actually see even the skin tone's a little bit different. The Commander Wolf looks a little bit more plasticky and toy-like, but Rex kind of looks more realistic, more like real skin. Let's see. Another thing I noticed about this guy is that his headpiece is not like the newer face scan figures where they have a separate headpiece with the hair and they paint it and then they put it on the figure. This looks like it was one sculpt that they just painted all together. And like I said, the pauldron is very nice because you can't take it off. You're not going to lose it. I mean, you can take it off, but it would ruin the aesthetics of the figure. So that's pretty cool. I think if I get another Captain Rex, I might cover up the weld marks and turn it into an ARC Trooper, so it's nice to know that the pauldron will stay. And he's got the little thigh cape, which I noticed on mine actually is a little bit puffed out. It doesn't quite sit perfectly, so I don't know if that was just an issue with the way that they set it onto the belt, or if something else happened there. But anyway, let's get into the articulation of this figure. He's got a ball joint neck. He's got a little bit of side to side. It can go a good range of motion backwards. It doesn't quite feel like it's the best articulated head. I can't tell if if Commander Wolf had the pivot on his head. Doesn't look like he did, so there's not much of a difference on the head articulation here. So he's got a good amount of spin. You can go all the way around. He can go this far back without the helmet. He can go that far forward also without the helmet. And that's about it. Then when you get down to the shoulders, because of the pauldron, they're actually able to hide some of the shoulder piece. on the actual armor, so he can have a good range of motion, and it doesn't hinder his up or down. Same on the other side, which is really nice. It adds for a dynamic range of motion. You've got the swivel on the bicep, you've got double jointed elbows, and it's really nice with these elbows is you can kind of see they have a little bit of a curvature that allow them to go almost 90 degrees, but not quite. Which I think is a really nifty feature, makes it better for posing. Because if you look again at Commander Wolf, he doesn't have those. He has rather straight elbows that don't quite get you there. And it's nice to see the difference between the two, if you can see it, but I do like that. They've hidden some of the joints a little bit better on this figure, and I do love that. Then you get into the wrist, because he's a gun-toting character. He's got some up, he's got some down, he's got the spin all the way around, and you've got the same thing on the other arm until you get to the wrist, which is his supporting hand for say, a rifle, and that does go in and out as opposed to up and down, which is pretty darn nice. And then let's get into the torso. He's got the tiniest bit of ab crunch. He's got a little bit of back, a little bit of forward. He's got some side to side on a bit of a pivot. You can get that much range of motion, which isn't fantastic, but it's also not bad. Then we've got the legs. Sweep the legs, Johnny. He's got a little bit of outwards, not a whole heck of a lot on both legs. He's got a little bit of forward, again, not a lot. He's got a little bit of backwards, again, also not a lot. He's got this little pivot thing deep inside the armor, which I don't know if the other figures had that, but I do really, really like it. And then you get down to the knees. He has got a double jointed knees, which is really nice. Let's see if we can get those to go as far back as they can. That's not too bad. And then you get down to the ankles. Not a lot of ankle movement, actually. The calf armor really doesn't allow for bending backwards. For forwards, you get a tiny bit of give, and that's about it. And then, of course, you have the pivot on the ankle, which gives you a nice range of motion, but it's still pretty hindered by the armor. And that is it for the articulation. Now let's take a look at him with his helmet on and his twin DC-17 blaster pistols. The helmet on looks phenomenal. This is the figure that I have been waiting for in the mail for so long. It looks absolutely wonderful. Again, I love the amount of weathering that he has. The helmet is very nice and weathered, and it matches the rest of the figure. It looks gorgeous, symmetrical. You go over to Commander Wolf, and you can see he is a different figure, I guess. I don't know why I pulled him out for that scene. But anyway, one thing I do notice about this figure with the helmet on is that because his head feels so small, it's not quite hidden all the way. If you look, you can see he's got a little bit of his chin exposed on the inside of the helmet, and it's really hard to get that to go away. You kind of have to take something and use it to push his helmet. You know, you got to push the rest of the head further into the helmet, and it's kind of distracting, and it eliminates a couple of angles for pictures. Also, the pauldron kind of gets in the way of the helmet if you're turning his head to his left. If you're turning his head to his right, you really don't have that problem at all, but if you go to the left, it starts to lift up the helmet, and you see the chin even more. Another thing he has is the same thing with Commander Wolf. His left hand doesn't have a trigger finger, which, if you're using a figure that has two pistols, you kind of want both figures to have a trigger finger, so you can make it look really nice in pictures or what have you. The left hand has it, or the right hand has it, the left hand doesn't. So I will be cutting the finger free on that one and moving it so that it can fit into the trigger guard. But other than that, I have no gripes with this figure. This is absolutely wonderful, and I can't wait to have it as a mainstay on my shelf and take some really awesome pictures with it. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful time. You're beautiful.